What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Chris here again in Dubai. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how you can fix your sleep. So this is something that I think is probably one of the most important things, not just when it comes to getting into better shape, but essentially into improving your life in general, performing better, having more energy, thinking clearer, everything. Like, sleep is the magic supplement no one ever talks about and will completely change your life if you get this right. So I want to just give you a bit of context around how you can improve your sleep and feel better, look better. A few things that I'm doing at the moment is, this is essentially something that I'm really looking to improve myself a lot, as I've realized that I've not actually been sleeping as good as I thought I was. And I really want to try and improve that and get my sleep to a good level where I feel amazing, because I've realized sometimes that it's just something I'm not always prioritizing as much as possible. So I'm very much looking at the data now and actually seeing if this is something that is getting better and is improving. So I use an Oura ring. So I'm going to go on to maybe the more kind of tracking side of things later on in this video. But that's essentially how I am now assessing my sleep. I'm looking at things like HRV. I'm looking at my kind of general statistics around REM sleep, light sleep, deep sleep, and I'm basically just looking to see as to whether things improve. And I'm trying different methods, seeing what works, seeing a bit of an improvement so far since I've already started looking at this. But I wanted to run you through essentially what I would do to improve your sleep routine, and a few things you can really start to think about as to how we can get better sleep, feel better, look better, improve your dieting phase, your performance phase, or generally just maintain your physique, whatever it is you're looking to try and achieve. So the first thing that we really want to think about in terms of improving sleep is establishing a good schedule, a good routine, okay? Like anything, but our bodies work off a clock, okay? It's called our circadian rhythm. This is essentially like our body's internal clock. So it likes routine, it likes structure, it likes similarity every single day. So one easy way to improve your sleep is essentially just making sure that you go to bed at the same time, you get up at the same time. Do that, and I mean every single day. Like, don't just, the weekends lie in because it's the weekend. You need your body to work like clockwork. So we need to really get disciplined now with making sure that every single day we are essentially doing the same thing. Bodies love routine. We're human. It's human nature to love structure and human nature to love routine. Okay, so we want to think about this in every single aspect of life as much as we possibly can. And the sleep is the first place that we should look into that. So that is exactly what I'm doing at the moment, and I'm making sure that this is a complete staple in my routine. So every single night now, and again, like, I was rubbish at this. Like the last 2 weeks for me now, my routine has been bulletproof. I think a lot of this has helped because Matt's been out here with me now and living with me. So, very much there's a lot more accountability involved. He likes to have a routine, so it's helped me do the same. But previously, when I was out here on my own, I was getting into a really bad routine where I was kind of working a lot off a UK time zone, which if you're doing that in Dubai, it's a terrible idea because, well, not for everyone, but personally it was for me, because I was doing things really late. So I was going to bed at like midnight because that was, at the time that was 8 o'clock in the UK. And it just was getting me in very bad habits. I was waking up, I was really struggling to get up in the morning and get up at 6 o'clock or 7 or whatever because I was going to bed too late. I just ended up feeling awful. I was very defeated. I just felt like I was in a shit routine and it wasn't really working for me. So since I've come out here now, like, I'm really structured with my routine in regards to, now I am done by like latest 10 o'clock. Sometimes I will be working late, and again, this is something I might try and change. If I am doing a late piece of work, I will not work later than 10. If that might just be getting back to a few messages from clients, that might just be looking at some content or whatever, but I will make sure that I am not working past that. And for me now, my bedtime is between 10 and 10:30, so I will be out, gone, and it'll be anywhere between that, giving myself a little bit of a spectrum. Okay, so that's my kind of initial thing that I'll do. And then essentially every single day now, every single morning, I wake up at 5:30, and that is a non-negotiable, and I have not missed a beat with that since I've been back in Dubai now, which has been about 10 days or whatever since Matt's come back here. So first thing I'd really start thinking about, okay, pick a bedtime. It works for you. It doesn't have to be super early. Pick a bedtime you can stick to, and pick a get up time. And the harder part, make sure you stick to that get up time. Make sure you are disciplined and you actually go to bed and get up at the right time. That's number one in terms of how we can improve our sleep quality. The second thing, which has been a massive game changer for myself, is essentially making sure you watch what you eat and what you drink before you go to bed. Okay, so more importantly, what you eat. I struggle with drink because for me, I have so many fluids. Like, I feel like I always need to drink so much water. It's not really a bad thing, maybe somewhat when it comes to sleep, but the biggest thing is definitely food. So for me now, like, I'm very, very disciplined with making sure that I cut off my food at around 8 o'clock, no later than that. So I make sure I've got at least 2 hours minimum, kind of 2.5 hours if I can, to make sure that food is digested. Sometimes I even try and eat before 8, so I'll try and make sure I've had my last meal by 7:30. And again, this is something that I didn't used to do, and that means everything, snack, yogurt bowl, whatever I have before bed, which is generally the yogurt, that is done by 7:30. And I used to save this right before I went to bed. because I was like, okay, well, actually, like, if I can say it before I go to bed, there's less chance of me, eating something I shouldn't in the evening. This can work somewhat, but at the end of the day, like, if you're eating food right before you go to sleep, then essentially your body's going to be digesting that food and breaking that food down when it should be trying to get a good night's sleep. Okay, you want your body to completely shut down so you get into deep sleep, REM sleep, and this is where we really recover and get all the benefits of sleep. So essentially, I used to eat way too close to bed, and it used to really mess up my sleep. I didn't used to feel good. I used to feel very groggy the next day. So for me now, simply just cutting off when I'm eating my last meal makes a massive difference. And it is the same with your fluids as well. Now, don't drink tons of water before you go to bed, okay? This is kind of like a no shit thing to say, but if you drink loads of water before you go to bed, you're just going to be up all night going to the toilet. Now, I can't ever seem to not have to go to the toilet once in the night. It just seems the way it always has been for me. Having worked with a sleep coach, he said that was actually okay, so it hasn't ever caused me too many issues, but you don't want to be doing this repetitively and constantly messing up your sleep. Ideally, if I could go without going at all, that'd be fantastic, but I feel like it's just something I've never really been able to not do. But essentially, cutting off your food, okay? Cutting off drink, maybe not having too much drink later, makes a massive difference. Okay, so start really looking at this. Really easy way to improve on your sleep. The third thing, which can make a massive difference in terms of improving your sleep, is your environment. Okay, your sleep environment. There's a few things I want you to start thinking about here. First, I want you to start thinking about the actual temperature that we should sleep at. Now, you want to be sleeping at around 18 to 22 degrees Celsius in terms of how we want to roughly have the temperature. If you live in the UK, that shouldn't be too much of an issue, okay, unless it's the summer where maybe it can be an issue because we don't really have air conditioning in the UK. Well, I certainly didn't anyway. So that can be a bit of a problem, but we want to try and set, luckily in Dubai, you can kind of regulate a temperature out here. You can set it, you can kind of keep it to around that spectrum, which is still sometimes hard to achieve if it's obviously if it's very hot, but that is the optimal environment and the temperature that our body sleeps at. If you are too hot or too cold, you are not going to get as good sleep. You're going to be very restful, and it's just not an environment our body wants to be in. You will wake up and feel tired. You wake up and you won't feel good. So it's important to get that temperature right, and just make sure that, again, like, you're looking at this and actually, ensuring that temperature has been set properly before you go to bed. I used to always have to sleep with a fan. I still do, because I just like the feeling of that blowing on me at night. Feels good. So essentially, you have something as well that will cause you to get a better night's sleep, whether that's using a fan or some sort of air conditioning unit if you need to do that. Essentially, the other thing we want to start thinking about when it comes to sleep environment is things like the mattress, the pillow quality. Like, these are simple things that people don't always realize. Like, you shouldn't be sleeping on like a cardboard box or anything like that. We want to be having a nice, comfy mattress. Spend a bit of money on your bed. Spend a bit of money on your pillows, on the comforter, whatever. Like, you want to make sure this is something that is actually going to lead to a good night's sleep and is going to make you feel good. And the last thing we need to think about is actually making sure that we're in an environment where we are completely shutting off the light. Okay, so for me, I've always used blackout curtains or blackout blinds. This works really well. Generally, I cannot sleep if there is a single bit of light showing, even to the point as to where recently I had to put like a sock on the smoke detector in my apartment because I literally just couldn't sleep with the light, the kind of buzzing of that. So we need to make sure we protect this. Now, for me recently, I've actually had to swap a little bit, move into a different bedroom in the flat that we're living in. And unfortunately with the blind, there is a little bit of light that creeps in from the marina, which is pretty standard how bright that is. But what that's meant for me is that I've actually now had to use an eye mask, okay, a sleep mask. So that again is an easy way to just completely shut yourself off so that you don't take any light and you don't absorb any light from that. So again, environment is super important. Either get blackout curtains or blackout blinds. You shouldn't be able to see a thing. Or, as I said, just make sure that you can have something that's going to block that off, because any bit of light is going to disturb your sleep. It's going to slow down melatonin production, and it's going to essentially stop you from getting in a deep night's sleep. Our body recognizes light, and that's essentially how it will stay awake and it will stay stimulated. The fourth piece of advice I can give you when it comes to improving your sleep, this is making sure we limit our phone use or looking at computers or looking at TVs. Okay, now this is difficult. A lot of people struggle with this, but if you literally roll over and you've got your phone there, or you're on your phone really late at night and you're kind of scrolling through TikTok videos or whatever, this is the worst thing you can do, because this blue light is signaling to your body to stay awake, to stop, to not produce melatonin. You're not going to get in a good night's sleep. You're going to feel very restless. It's going to take you a while to get to sleep. It's not something that we should do. Okay, so this is where you need to think about either getting some blue light blocking glasses or just come away from your phone. Like, have a cutoff point, put it to the side. Like, I always do this. I try not to. Sometimes, again, I'm my own worst enemy. I will go on my phone too late and I'll start doing things I shouldn't do, but trying very consciously now to come away from that. Or if I do, I will wear blue light blocking glasses, or wear blue light blocking glasses in the evening when I'm working late, if that's what I've decided to do, whatever. It makes a massive difference. We don't want blue light to interfere with our sleep, okay? And if we are using our phone too much, we're going to have an issue with that. So simple thing to do, shut off from technology, shut off from work, okay? Like, really start to be disciplined with doing these things. Start journaling. Like, this has been shown to ensure that your sleep is better. There's been studies to show that actually journaling and brain dumping before you go to bed makes a massive difference with your sleep as well. So this is something I always do. For me, it's about planning out my following day. So for me, I'll sit there and I will literally map out what I need to get done the following morning, the following day. That for me actually releases a lot of anxiety to make me feel a lot better. Okay, so simple stuff like that. Come away from technology, plan, journal. That's an easy thing to look at too. And the last thing I want to talk about in terms of improving your sleep is maybe some of the supplementation around this, or maybe some of the stimulants and things that we shouldn't use, okay? Obvious one, caffeine. A lot of people don't realize that caffeine will affect you a lot later than you think. So caffeine has typically got an 8-hour half-life, which means that if you have a cup of coffee, that's going to affect you for the next 8 hours, and only half of that's going to be out of your system within 8 hours, which typically is okay, but you need to make sure that you're cutting things off. I would say around midday, 2 o'clock maximum really is the latest you want to be consuming caffeine, because it's going to disrupt your sleep. It's going to cause issues. So that's the first thing to think about. Have your coffee in the morning, have your caffeine in the morning between maybe like 9 and 2, have a few coffees. That should all be really what you need. And if you are going to use some sort of stimulant in the evening time, I recommend using something that you get from a non-stim pre-workout. So this is going to be things like beta-alanine it's going to put in there. It's going to put like L-citrulline, which is just kind of supplementation, which is quite good for focus and pumps. Or I would recommend you use something like nicotine. I'm not using loads of it because I'm not saying go and get addicted to this, but if you use nicotine quite sort of strategically, this can help keep appetite at bay and also keep you a little bit more focused in the evening. So I use a nicotine spray if I'm just trying to get some deep work done, and I just need a bit of a kick. Very, very short half-life. It's not going to affect you in terms of a sleep quality. In terms of supplementation to start looking at. Now, unless you have absolutely nailed everything that I've just spoken about for the last 10 minutes, in terms of supplement, in terms of the kind of biggest things to focus on, there is no point in using supplements. There really isn't. Supplements only ever work if the other kind of fundamentals are in place. Okay, you need to make sure that that's covered, and then we use supplements to just kind of fine-tune things a little bit and just get a little bit more % out of something that we're trying to achieve. So when you've done that, there's a few supplements that I would recommend. The first one I would recommend that I've actually used for quite a long time myself is something called ZMA, okay? Zinc Magnesium Aspartate. Now, this is a supplement that essentially promotes relaxation. It helps promote you feeling a little bit more tired, just a little bit more at ease. And there's been some studies that have linked this with increasing natural testosterone production in men as well. So again, like I've done a whole other video on this, but testosterone is something we want to be maximizing as much as we can. So essentially, that's something I've always found very useful. I've been taking it for quite a long time. It gives you very wacky, weird dreams. That's one thing to consider, but it's one thing that I think works pretty well. If you've got everything nailed down, it's definitely a supplement that I think can have a good effect. The other supplement that I found to be useful is something called 5-HTP. Okay, so I couldn't tell you what the exact physiological name of this is, or the chemistry name, whatever, but this is a supplement which promotes for you to release serotonin, okay? And it just helps you feel better. Serotonin is what kind of makes us feel better and, actually be a little bit happier as such. It helps you kind of improve your mood. It helps you improve and release anxiety. So again, this is a supplement that I found taking it in the evening time before you go to bed. It's a great time to do it because it's going to promote relaxation. These are not magical supplements, but they are supplements that can help a little bit when you are trying to optimize your sleep as much as possible, okay? And the last one to think about is, of course, melatonin. So melatonin is a hormone that our body naturally produces anyway. And essentially in times of darkness, this is what is going to signal to your body to wind down, to relax, to sleep. Okay, that's what we want. So we want to be producing melatonin when we get into the evening. However, what happens, or what we do need sometimes, is our body needs a bit of help. Okay, we can essentially supplement with something that our body produces naturally just to help us get more melatonin and essentially get a better night's sleep. So this is something that I use. For some reason, it's difficult to get melatonin if you live in the UK. Dubai, the supplementation kind of restrictions are a lot less. So I've been using melatonin. I've been buying that at a chemist, and I will take that before I go to bed. And that definitely helps as well. It's 100% going to be probably the strongest supplement for you to see a difference from if you do struggle with sleep, especially if you travel a lot as well and you're going in and out of different time zones. Then 100% getting some melatonin can make a massive difference in terms of getting on top of your sleep routine. So anyway, guys, I hope you found this video useful. This is just my advice when it comes to improving sleep. These are a few things that I've tried. This is the type of advice we give to our clients as well. There is no kind of miracle pill in anything that I've just said, but if you slowly implement a lot of these things, you give it time, you stay consistent, you will feel a lot better. You will feel a lot more rejuvenated and your life will improve. It's as simple as that. Sleep will improve your life. If you're currently only getting very little amounts of sleep, you're not going to feel as good as what you could do, okay? And this is all going to be kind of in conjunction to your current lifestyle. If you can't get the most optimal night's sleep because of your job, that's fair enough. Everyone's different, but you do your best. As long as you do your best, even if you get 6 hours of really good sleep because you've just taken into account everything that I've just said, that is going to be way better than getting 8 hours of terrible sleep of, not taking into account anything that I've just said. It's all about kind of quality over quantity anyway. So you need to kind of take that into consideration too. So if you found this video useful, please make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing for future videos that will be coming to this channel. If you're on Spotify, make sure you do the same. Drop me a 5-star review if you're finding the podcast useful at the moment. And guys, I'll catch you in the next episode.